Hello.
Hi.
Oh, it's
Alina
recording
is
the call.
Oh, okay.
It flipped out for a second.
Yeah, it like glitched for a second.
Can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Theresa Parra K. From Pasadena, California.
Yes. And I am Kelsey O'Keefe, also from Pasadena, California.
So,
Where do you want us to
start
start?
from?
Start from the beginning?
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'll start, and then I'm going to let Kelsey finish. We're going to tag team through this whole thing. So, in a little background about us, Kelsey and I went to the same high school, but 20 years apart. I'm a little bit older than her. And her freshman year of high school, I came on the campus as an alumni volunteer trying to help restore the arts and the music programs on the campus because they had become non-existent. And so some of my fellow classmates and I started a nonprofit organization for arts education. And Kelsey was one of the first kids who got involved in the programs that we were starting on the campus. Then the following year, I joined the staff of that school as the culinary arts teacher, but also still running the nonprofit organization. And so Kelsey was involved in a lot of the musical productions we did, a lot of the fundraising efforts we did, all sorts of things. And so then fast forward, several years after she's graduated and we're adults and we're now very dear friends and we are travel buddies and Broadway buddies. We are both Broadway junkies.
Yeah.
Some of us get to New York a little more often than others. But so we, a couple of years, went to Broadway Con together in New York, which is the Comic Con for Broadway geeks. Mm-hmm. And so in 2017, January of 2017, we were at the Broadway Con. And on the closing day on the Sunday afternoon, they bring in the new productions that are going to be opening on Broadway that season, and they do panels with the cast, and they do previews. They do musical numbers so you can get excited about what's coming in and what you want to see the next year. Mm-hmm. So that Sunday afternoon, I actually left Broadway Con because I had a friend rehearsing a Broadway show in New York.
You weren't even there.
Yeah, I wasn't even there. So my friend Patty,
my
friend Patty was in War Paint. She was understudying Christine Ebersole in War Paint. Mm-hmm. And that Sunday afternoon was her only time off. And she said, I have 2 hours. I can meet you for lunch. And that's the only time I have. So I'm like, I got to leave. So I'm like, Kelsey, record stuff. Tell me what happens and catch me up tonight. Mm-hmm. So I left and I went and had lunch with my friend Patty, and Kelsey stayed for the previews. So I'm going to let her tell you what she saw previewed.
Oh my goodness. I don't remember anything else that previewed that afternoon, but Jen Colella showed up and sang Me in the Sky from Come From Away. And I had heard about the show a tiny bit. They had started to advertise it. Yeah. There's this new show coming to Broadway and it's, going to pull at your heartstrings and it's about Canada and blah, blah. And I don't know. It was okay, this looks interesting. I guess it'll be good. But she sings this song and I'm crying at the end of this song. And I'm sure it was the only thing I told Theresa.
Yeah.
This was the best thing that they previewed out of every other show that they told us about. And then we leave Broadway Con and I fly back to New York that April because I just want to go see shows and see friends and enjoy myself. And I choose to go see Come From Away and couldn't breathe for an hour and a half. I'm in tears and I'm laughing and freak out. And I buy a ticket the next day to go see it again because I just couldn't handle how amazing it was. And I'm sure I told you.
Yeah, she's texting me. Well, that night, the night of Broadway Con, she came to dinner and she's like, oh my God, Jen Colella sang the most amazing song. And we had seen Jen at Broadway Con the year before doing karaoke night. In fact, I have video of her still in my phone of her doing karaoke. And we knew who Jen was a little bit. She hadn't achieved a whole lot of fame on Broadway. She worked a lot. Yeah, and I had just seen her in If Then. And but she's like, oh my God. And she would not stop she goes, I have to go back. This is the first show of the season that I have to go back and see. And so she did, and then was texting me going, oh my God, it's the best show I've ever seen. It's the best show. Oh my God, blah, 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 blah. So I didn't get back to New York that season. I don't even remember what was going on, but I didn't get back that year to see any of the shows that season. But around in June, maybe, we both started following Come From Away on Facebook and just kind of keeping up on the stuff as it was opening and just kind of as people were getting the buzz. And there was this little flash on the Facebook page, click here for your chance to enter to win the ultimate Come From Away Newfoundland experience. And it was a Facebook contest, like Lin-Manuel Miranda does those Hamilton ones where you have to enter for Prizeo and blah, 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 blah. This one was just a click here for your chance to win. So I I shared it on Facebook, tagged Kelsey and said, Kelsey, check this out. We should enter kind of thing. And I think we both clicked on and, just enter your email. And that was it. Never saw the thing scroll by again, never heard a thing. And then I don't know, like in July, Kelsey and I went to the Hollywood Bowl to a concert, and we're sitting at the picnic table, and Kelsey goes, so I need to show you this, and she takes out her phone. So tell her what you showed me on your phone.
Oh my gosh. So I had received this email from Playbill saying, congratulations, you won. Send us in the next 24 hours, send us a picture of your driver's license to prove that you're 18 or older. And I was like, what is this?
She thought she was getting scammed.
I thought she was scammed. But then I was like, well, if I really did win something, like sending my driver's license can't hurt. Like, what's going to happen if I send my driver's license? They'll have that information and whatever. They could come to my house. And so I send it, and then they email me back, and he was like, yeah, you must have missed my initial email that I had sent you a week ago, but glad you responded. And now I'm going to connect you with this Maxim agent, and she's going to, help you plan your trip. And I'm like, hi, Maxim agent. What did I win?
Yeah, like she didn't even know what she had won.
Remember.
She had no idea. She goes, she's like, what did I enter? She goes, do you remember me doing this? I'm like, yes, I told you about it. And I'm like, you won? I'm like, you actually won? Like somebody actually won something on Facebook?
And so I won, and she's telling me, she's like, you've won 8 days in Newfoundland, and you get 2 nights on Fogo Island, and you get all this stuff, and we're going to pay for your rental car, we're going to pay for your flight, and you get to take another person, and we're going to pay for all your hotels, and we're going to pay for like all these experiences for you. And I'm just like, are you serious?
So then her sister's like, you're going to take me, right? You're going to take me, right? Everyone's like, wait, Kelsey won. Let's all be nice to Kelsey.
Oh my God.
And Kelsey's like, well, she goes, are you available to go to Newfoundland? I'm like, what do you mean am I available to go to Newfoundland? She goes, well, you did tell me about the contest, so I guess I have to take you now. We booked
it for a month later.
Like a month later. And she had a full
year
to take the trip. But she's like, well, I'm available.
Schedule,
she goes, I'm available these dates. And I think we booked it like a day on either side of the availability. Right. So she texted me and she goes, so are you available to go to Newfoundland from like August 28th to September 7th? And I'm like, my husband can watch the kids. I'm out of here. So we just booked it, and we ended up being there, I think 11 days total, not the 8. It was supposed to be an 8-day trip.
8-day, 9, but we would stay an extra day for travel. And
because we were coming from Los Angeles. Now, if you won this in the United States, they would have said, we don't care where you're traveling from, this is how many days you get. Being that it was Canadians and about Come From Away, and it was Newfoundland specific. Oh no, we're going to fly you in. You have to travel all day. We're going to put you up in a hotel the night you get in because it's midnight and it's late. So you get a good night's sleep, and then you can start your adventure the next day. Oh, but then Fogo Island is your last place, but you're flying from St. John's, not from Gander. So you need another day because then you have to drive. It's going to take you the day to drive down to St. John's, and then you need another night to relax and stay in a hotel again before we fly you out. And we're like, what? We're like, who? So that was our first experience with Newfoundlanders, for goodness sake. So there was the trip. So we went to Newfoundland for 11 days, and We spent 2 days in St. John's, which was amazing, and we can't wait to get back there. Oh my God! So they flew us in, and we went to the rooms, and we did a city tour, and went to Signal Hill, and I don't know all the stuff that you do, whatever you do in St. John's. We had 2 days there, and we crammed the jelly bean houses, and then we had a rental car. They had set up all these tours for us, our hotel for us. They set up. They gave us these passes, the national park passes, where you can go anywhere in Canada and use them for this. And then they gave us vouchers for all these different tours. And they're like, well, we have certain stuff set up for you, and then certain stuff you can pick and choose which of the things that you want to do. Oh, and here's your rental car, so just do whatever you want with that too. And we're like, what? And so we did stuff all over St. John's, and then after 2 days there, we road tripped it up to Port Rexton and Trinity and Bona Vista and that area. And we stayed at the Fish. People kept asking us. They said, where are you going next? And we said, Port Rexton. They said, oh, you're not staying at the Fisher's Locked In, are you? We're like, I think that's the name. I don't know. We're like, oh, yeah, that's it. Which I guess is a very famous place. Like, they kept putting us at, like, the best places everywhere. And we did the Screwink Trail there, and then we went on the Rugged Boat Tour. That was
the best.
Bruce at the Rugged Boat Tours. Oh, we did the boats, the Puffin. We went and saw the Puffin.
Oh, yeah.
And that.
Oh my gosh.
So much stuff. And then we went to Gander. Then we had 2 days in Gander. Yeah. So we get to Gander. The only day it rained the whole time we were there was when we got to Gander. And we went on, from the Aviation Museum, they do a tour of Gander. It's a public tour. Anyone can buy a ticket on the bus, and this girl takes you around, and some of it's about
9/11.
It's 9/11, yeah. And they're I think sneaking more Come From Away stuff in now because they're realizing that people are coming to Gander because of that. But this was more based on the 9/11 history and some of the aviation history. Like we went to NavCan, and we went to the airport, and we got to see the lobby, the lounge at the airport, and we got taken up to the tower, which apparently no one's supposed to go to the tower, but they took us to the tower. Yeah. And anyway, they gave us a private tour. It was just Kelsey and myself. But there was this other Canadian guy there. What was his? I don't remember his name. And he was an aviation junkie. Like he had never even heard of Come From Away. And he went there for the aviation stuff. He grew up with his father working at the airport, wherever he was from in Canada, Vancouver, somewhere. And and they told him when he came to sign up to pay to go on this tour, well, we're actually doing a VIP private tour today for these contest winners, but we'll ask them if they mind if you go. And we're like, it's just us. We're like, we had no idea that what this stuff was. That they just set up all this crazy stuff for us to do. We're like, come on, join us, whatever. And
tour, we got to meet.
And then and they tell us we're going to meet a town notable. And so we're like, please let it be Oz or Beulah. Please let it be Oz or Beulah. Our goal for Gander was to meet Oz and Beulah and have him write
Beulah
us.
Davis, who we didn't realize at the time was
STFD t-shirt. Yeah. So we get to Town Hall, and in Town Hall we are introduced to Oz Fudge, and we're like going, yes, yes, yes. We were like, and the other guy who was with us had no idea what he was even. We were like geeking out. We're going, it's the real Oz Fudge. Write me a ticket. Write me a ticket. And so this Canadian guy. So Oz is literally telling us the story, and in the show when he's doing and I count 28. 28 plays, 29. There must be 200, 300 on each other one. Holy shit! And it's the line that the character says in the show, but we're sitting here listening to Oz Fudge tell the exact story that's in the show, word for word, and he ends it with the holy shit. We're like, oh my God, it's real. Like, it's real. And we're dying. We're just like freaking out. This poor guy that's with us is listening to the story for the first time. He starts
bawling his eyes out.
Bawling, like just uncontrollably sobbing, hearing these stories that he didn't know. And he's just like, oh my God.
Like, I think
Like,
he knew about 9/11 and Gander, just tiny bits and pieces, but
yeah.
none of the details.
And so then when they took us to the airport and then took us up to the control tower, like it was his dream in life ever, since he was a child, to go in any control tower at any airport. But he knew that because of security, that was never going, like his dream was never going to happen. We're there because we're Broadway fans and we're geeking out that we met the real character from a Broadway show. We don't even know what's in Gander. Right. We don't know anything about aviation and airports and, And so this guy is like freaking out that we're in and we're just like, this is cool. Can we take a picture? Like, it was no big deal to us because we didn't get that it was a big deal. Mm-hmm. And that mid-century modern lounge that's at the airport, that's actually closed. It's not open. They don't use it as a lounge. And they took us all through there and walked us all through and let us sit on the furniture and use the payphone and all this crazy stuff. And then they took us to Nav Can. So you do. I'll let.
No,
I know I talk a lot.
No, keep talking. But yeah.
So then the next thing they add to our tour, which is not actually part of the tour, is going to Nav Can. Mm-hmm. So Nav Can is, which we learned, we didn't know any of this, ground control for all airplanes making transatlantic crossings is in Gander. It's based in Gander. So on 9/11. The people who had to make the call of where all those airplanes were going that were crossing the Atlantic, that were headed to the United States when airspace closed, is in Gander. It's these guys that work in Gander navigating all the transatlantic flights. That's where it's based. So they take us there and we spend the afternoon learning how to navigate. They're showing us the radars and they're showing us the flight patterns and how they do stuff. And they're, the guy who gave us the tour was there on that day. So he was telling us about how they had to watch all the flight patterns and where it went. And we're just like, okay, this is really cool. But this other guy, God, what was his name? I can't remember his name. He was like freaking out.
Yeah.
That he's like, how is this? And at the end of the tour, he's just crying and he's hugging us and he's like, I have to take you to dinner. I have to take you to dinner because he goes, this would have never happened had you not said, okay, Roger Parr, to go on this tour. And so we went and had dinner with him that night. And as we're leaving City Hall or Town Hall, Oz says, make sure you call me tonight. We'll go have a beer. And I'm like, someone in LA says that it's just like a, it's you just say it to be polite, but you don't really mean it most of the time. So he tells the girl giving the tour, make sure they have my number. Tell them to call me. So they give me Oz's number and I'm like going, I have Oz Fudge's number in my cell phone. This is really freaky. And so we go to dinner and I'm like, so should I really call him? Like, do you think like he'll, is it just a thing they say here? So I call him and at the time I had pink hair. So I'm like, hi, it's your new friend with pink hair. And he starts laughing. And so he says, let's go meet. And I think originally he said, let's go down to the Legion. Well, the Legion wasn't exactly the rockin' place that it was as depicted in Come From Away. There weren't a whole lot of people hanging out there. So we walk in, there's no one there. Like, not a soul. The bartender and his friend, and they were just hanging out, and they looked at us like, who are you? Yeah. What can we do? And we're here to meet Oz. And they're like, Oz? I'm like, Oz Fudge? No, and they're looking around, and I'm like, okay. They're like, you sure he didn't say Legends, the bar next door? Right, okay. I'm like, no, he said Legion. And he said, well, Legends is the bar next door. And that's probably where he's at because there's nothing going on here tonight kind of thing. And so I call him again. I'm like, okay, so they're making fun of us at the Legion because no one's there. And they said, do you want to go to Legends? He goes, oh, no. It's like a dance club, I think. And so we go around a couple of times, and we went to Winging It. I think it's called Winging It, the wing place. So we go to have like beer with Oz Fudge, and his son Jamie's driving him around because he's the town cop. He can't drink and drive, so he has his kids drive him around as a chauffeur, which is really funny. So he can go out drinking at night. And so we spent the evening, and I think Roger came with us. Mm-hmm. Roger came with us, and we all hung out. Hanging and kicking it with Oz Fudge, drinking beer and hanging out. And Jamie, his son Jamie, was there. And
I know Lisa was there.
did Lisa come that? No, she came the next night.
Did she?
The next night, because we had dinner with them the next night.
Okay.
Oz just came and had drinks with us that night.
Okay.
And
Jamie brought the t-shirt.
and the next night.
Oh.
Yeah, that was the next, because Lisa, I know, we had 2 nights
So
there.
many things.
And so we did, I don't know, we did whatever we did the next day in Gander.
We
And
walked
Oz,
we walked the pond.
walked Cobb's Pond, and we drove around town. We had our list of everything that's mentioned and Come From Away.
We had to
Tim
go to
Hortons, Shoppers,
Yes.
the Newtel building, the whatever, all the stuff that's mentioned. So that was our goal for the
and they had
day.
taken us to the hockey rink.
Oh
on
yeah,
the
we went to
tour
the
as
hockey rink as well. Yeah, we did. We went to the hockey rink on that tour as well. And there's a whole room upstairs that is letters and pictures and posters that were signed by the people who stayed there, like thank you gifts. And we were walking around there, just tears streaming down our face, reading all the stuff. So we made it our goal to go to every single place in Gander that's mentioned in Come From Away. Like this was our thing. We were geeking out on all the Broadway aspect.
Well,
of
and
it.
you had still never really seen it.
And I hadn't
though,
seen
the
it.
bootleg.
Yeah. Okay, I watched the bootleg on YouTube before we went to Gander, but I've seen it
also
live since then.
rewatched
I've seen
it,
it live
yes.
since then, but okay, yeah. Sorry, Diane Davis. She hates bootleggers. But Oz said, let me see if I can get the gang together. Like he was trying to get some people to come meet us, and it turned out there's kind of a full circle story that I think really hasn't been out there. So Beulah and Hannah bond over their sons both being firefighters, and we know that Hannah's son Kevin lost his life at 9/11. So Beulah's son Aubrey, who was also the firefighter, passed away in 2017 from cancer. And the day that we arrived in Gander was the day of his funeral. And so I know, and we were like, oh, we're like, really? And so we didn't get to meet a lot of the people because they were with Beulah. They were with Beulah, supporting her and with her family, because it's a very tight community and everyone knows everyone there. And so Oz, came out to meet with us. And so then the next night, he said, "Let's have dinner. Let's go to Wing It. Let's go have wings and beer. You gotta have beer with Oz Fudge." And he goes, "I'll get Lisa." So his daughter Lisa comes with us. So we're all having dinner and just shooting the shit and becoming friends. And he's telling us stories, firsthand stories of the days following 9/11, all the stuff that has now Come From Away. And we're saying, you guys are going to get you better be prepared for tourists, because when word gets out, because the show was still fairly new at this point, it had only been on Broadway for a few months, so it hadn't really caught on that Gander was a place to go visit yet, or that people were going to go to Newfoundland. Like Kelsey and I had to look on a map. We didn't even know where the hell we were going. I'm like, do you know where Newfoundland is? No. Like we didn't even know where we were going. Like literally, we do now, and we tell everybody where it is now. Like, what do you mean you don't know where Newfoundland is? And so I don't know. We were hanging out with Oz, and he said, "Where are you going next?" And we said, "We're headed to Fogo Island." He goes, "Oh," and he asked Lisa, he goes, "Isn't Diane there?" He goes, "Hang on, let's go find Diane." We're like, "Who's Diane?" Yeah. Like we didn't know. We're like, "Well, Diane, Nick and Diane, but it's not that Diane." Anyway, he goes, "Diane Davis," and we're like, "Okay." And so Lisa's texting or Facebooking or whatever with Diane Davis, and he said, "Is she over on Fogo?" And Diane said, "Yeah, I'm here, coming back tomorrow. Why, what's up?" And so Lisa says, "Well, we got these 2 girls from LA right now. They won this Come From Away contest, and they're headed to Fogo Island in the morning. So we thought that you could meet up with them." She goes, "I can wait. Leo can come back on the ferry without me, and I can stick around for a couple more hours." So it wasn't 30 seconds. I get a Facebook friend request from Diane Davis. I'm like, okay, click. These people are crazy, and so we go take the car, and we have to take a ferry over to Fogo Island. So we get off the ferry. We're like the first car that drives off, and standing up on the dock is this woman like wearing a Come From Away jacket, and she's standing there waving like crazy with this big smile on her face. And we're like, I guess that's Diane Davis. And so we go and meet Diane, and who is, for those who don't know, she's half of the Beulah character. Yeah. So Beulah is Beulah Cooper.
Davis.
Yeah, Beulah Davis is Beulah Cooper plus Diane Davis. So the stories of the Legion and the firefighter sons and the connection with Hannah, that's the Beulah side. And then the Gander Academy, and that's the Diane Davis side. And really how the character is portrayed is more of Diane's personality than it is Beulah. There's Beulah snuck in there, but we didn't know that at the time. We didn't know it was two different people. We just thought they changed the last name, and then we went, oh, got it. So she meets us there. Here, you can tell about our day on Fogo.
Oh my goodness,
Diane.
Oh my goodness. So like already she's totally changed her plans to greet us and meet us. And she basically says, just follow me and I will lead you around the island. So we hop in our car and she's in her car and she just drives us around the island. And after like stopping for some photos with the beautiful scenery, because it's gorgeous if you haven't been, then she's like, oh, let me take you to my house. So then she just drives us to her house that she has on Fogo Island and invites us in and offers us tea. And is just, sharing her life story and how she met Leo and how they now live here. And he grew up on Fogo Island, right?
Yeah, and showed us.
Yeah, like,
that's
his
uncle's house.
Uncle, yeah. Like, his whole family is still here, and so they're all here. And I love the iceberg season, and let me show you my fan page, and, like, all this stuff. And just being so friendly and wonderful and sharing how much she loves Fogo Island, how much she loves the Fogo Island Inn, and how she loves Come From Away, and how she's loved traveling. And so then after spending, I don't know, probably like 45 minutes at her house. And she's like, I guess you should go to the inn now. So then she leads us to the inn and ends up staying with us for lunch. And,
she knows everybody at the inn.
Everyone.
And
they try and go at least, like, I think twice a year.
Yeah, the Fogo Island Inn. Do you know about the Fogo Island Inn? Okay.
Yes.
So incredibly special place. And when Kelsey won this trip, I started looking at what was on the agenda, and I'm like, did you check this place? Oh my God. I'm like, did you check this place out? Oh my God. And she's like, no. She goes, I kind of want to be surprised. Like she had no idea where we were going, what we were doing. And I'm like, oh my God, Kelsey. So I'm like, this place is like this exclusive, amazing place. Yeah. We didn't know how much it cost at the time. Now we do. Holy cow. But so Diane, she'll sneak in there anytime she can. And she does stay there. She and Leo will stay there a couple times a year. But if she has friends, that happen to be going to Fogo Island, she can just kind of maybe sneak in with their lunch. Yeah. Because it's an all-inclusive hotel. So all meals are included, all your activities are included, just everything is included. And so she stayed and we had lunch together and just, oh my God, had like the best time with her. And then we got 2 days on Fogo, and people in Newfoundland were like, when we said we were going to Fogo Island, they said, oh, you're not staying at the inn, are you? Like joking. And we're like, yeah. And they're like, wait, they're paying for you to stay at the inn? And we're like, yeah, like we didn't realize how exclusive it was and what a thing it was. Yeah. We don't know. We have luxury hotels. We live in LA, for God's sake. You know what I mean? So I don't think we got how special it was until we actually stayed there. It's incredible. I mean, you can go to a 5-star hotel all over the world, right, but it's not the Fogo Island Inn experience. It's just not. Mm-hmm. And if you have to save every dime ever to stay there for one night, let me just tell you, it is worth it. Right. It is so. If I could ever save enough money to actually pay to stay there again, I certainly would spend the money to do it. It's like $2,000 a night or something crazy like that.
We have a year and a half to save.
I know, we have to save. So we had our amazing 2 nights at Fogo, and then Diane said we had to go back through Gander, drive back from Gander down to St. John's again. So she said, well, let us know when you get back, let us know what fare you get on, and let us know when you're coming into town, because come and stop by the house on your way back. And
the recording people will be here.
Yeah, the HBO, she said the HBO guys will be here. So this is the documentary, the You Are Here documentary. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the guys from HBO were coming into town to set up to start filming that week. So we're there just before 9/11. We were there, I guess, the 6th, the 7th,
the 7th,
I think.
Our last day,
And so Diane came in. We get to her house, and the HBO guys are coming in to set up for filming and figuring out where they're going to do stuff. We walk in her living room, and she goes, "I want to introduce you to my friend." And Kevin T stands up. Kevin Turf is there. So he had just come into town. And so she says, "You come over and meet." And in fact, he gave me a copy of his book and signed it, which was very cool.
I had already bought it.
Yeah, she already had it. I'm like, I got mine gifted, so that was really cool.
Whatever.
And we walked across the street because Diane lives across the street from Gander Academy. So we walked over to Gander Academy and took photos in front of Gander Academy with Kevin and with Diane. And Leo brought out. We never ate moose the whole. We didn't have moose. We didn't have cod tongue. We didn't have Tautons the whole time we were there. Never had any of those. So Leo said, "Well, you have to have moose." So we got out the iceberg beer and the bottled moose, and we had moose at their house. So funny. And then Oz is saying, "Well, you should stay. You should stay for the documentary. You should stay. You're part of the family now. You should just stay. Everyone's flying in tonight." So literally everybody, as we were driving out of Gander, Nick and Diane, Beverly, everyone was flying in that night as we were leaving Gander. We're like, but who knew? Who knew? So we missed all of them by not even a day, by the same day. And then we went back to St. John's and had one more lovely evening in St. John's. And we were going to go get screeched in on George Street. And then we kind of looked at the places. And, I was. And we kind of went, it doesn't feel right. Like it feels touristy and weird and just, it didn't feel like a real screech in. So we have a deal with Oz and Brian Mosher that the next time we come back to Gander, they will screech us in. So we've saved our screech in for them and for Gander. So we still aren't official. We aren't official yet. So we will be back. So we became good friends with Oz and with Lisa. And I talk to Oz still weekly, all the time. So moving forward, this story that's just like the beginning of it. So Oz and I, blah 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 blah. We you know Oz, so you know he
and Lisa loves Disney.
Yeah, you get the two of us together. Your ear's gonna get talked off for hours on end. And Lisa and I have the connection of we love Disney, like love Disney. And my family and I were annual Disney pass holders for 9 years. They finally priced us out. It costs way too much now. So my children got to choose private school or Disneyland this year. They chose private school. Good call. But there for a long time, we would go to Disneyland at least once a week, if not more. And Lisa loves Ariel. She loves Little Mermaid. She likes the villain. She likes Jack Skellington. So there's certain characters that I know that so I would collect things for her, and my daughter and I would make care packages and send them to Lisa. So I would send her things from Disneyland, and then in return she would send me things from Newfoundland. So I have you probably know this shirt. You probably have one of these, the STFD shirt. I got a new one. They started making the girl cut, so she brought me this one in London. Oh, I have this.
Wow,
this was my Christmas. I know. Yeah, you need one of these. This was my Christmas present 2 years ago. They had Christmas ornaments made, the STFD Christmas ornaments, which are lovely. She also she crochets. That's Lisa's thing. And every time a new cast of Come From Away opens, she literally crochets every cast member, every crew member, a blue and yellow scarf. And the only way to get one is by knowing Lisa and to be in the company of Come From Away or to be one of the real people from Come From Away. Well, I guess I qualified because Lisa crocheted me a lovely scarf this winter. So I feel very honored to have that. So we've stayed in touch. And as the show started opening, the national tour opened, the U.S. tour, the North American tour, because I guess it's U.S. and Canada. So they knew that they were going to Seattle because that's where the tour launch premiere. But I'm like, but it's coming to LA. Have them send you to LA. Come on, you have to come to LA. It's coming to our theater. You have to come. So Oz told me, he said they're kind of the production company, Junkyard Dogs, is kind of asking each of us if we have family or something in any of the major cities. because they pick some of the cities, and Claude will sometimes go, or Beverly will sometimes go, or Nick and Diane will go, kind of to represent. And so they decided LA was a big enough city that they should send some people to represent. So Oz and Brian Mosher got sent from Gander, and Nick and Diane came, and Beverly and Tom. So that was the contingency. So Oz found out he was coming to LA. So I'm like, okay, so you need to get me into the opening night. I'm like, so I have to go. So you figure out how to get me a ticket, get me a house seat. I said, I'm going online right now because I'm going to see if I can buy a ticket so I can join you guys. But the openings, the press nights are always the night before the show's open to the public. So there's no going, you can't buy tickets. It's closed. Like it was a Monday night. There's no buying that ticket. So I said, you have to get me a house seat. You can arrange it. Just call the guys at Junkyard Dogs. Tell them you need a +1. I'm like, so I work in the industry. Kelsey works in the industry. I know how it works. Oz doesn't quite know how it works. I have to help him sometimes. And I'm like, just tell them you need a house seat for your friend in LA. So, Oz kind of doesn't follow through all the time, but that's okay. I love Oz. Talking online, you start talking to people and you become friends. All of a sudden I'm friends with Beverly and I'm friends with Nick. And I don't know, we just all start talking and you friend each other on Facebook before you actually meet, which is kind of crazy. And so I was talking to Beverly, I was messaging her and I'm like, okay, so Oz told me that there's a dinner before, and I said, he's supposed to get me a house seat, but I don't know if he's actually done that. And she goes, oh, just show up. We'll swing you from the rafters if we have to. So Beverly's telling me just show up. She said, yeah, we have a dinner at Kendall's before. And I figured it was the 6 of them and maybe like the producers and the house managers from the theater. I figured it was a small group. And Beverly literally just said, just show up. Like, just show up. I'm like, okay. And I knew the restaurant very well. It's our theater that we go to all the time. So I show up and I go to the host and they said, oh, the center theater group, they're up in the upper dining room. So I walk in and I see Oz there and I go over, give him a hug. I'm like, told you I was going to show up. And he introduces me to Brian Mosher. And as I'm talking to them, the host comes over to me with his guest list to check me in. And I'm laughing. I'm like, yeah, you don't even need to get the list out because I'm so not on it. I said, I just came here to see my friends from Newfoundland that I haven't seen since last year. And I said, Beverly Bass told me to crash the party. So I'm crashing the party. I said, don't worry, I'm not staying. I'm going to have a drink with my friends and then I'll be out of here. He goes, you're friends with these guys? He goes, I'm sure I can find you a seat. So I'm like, okay. So I go get a drink and I'm hanging out. And we're, and then Nick and Diane come in and so I meet them finally. Tom and Beverly come in. I get to meet them face to face. And I'm standing there having a drink with Oz and Brian Mosher. And in walks a celebrity and they're freaking out. And I live in LA. It's normal, and I'm like, oh, yeah, George. And Brian Mosher is freaking out. He goes, it's Sulu from Star Trek. Oh, my God. And he's like freaking out. And I'm like, yeah, George. I'm like, George and his husband, Brad, and they're freaking out. So George Takei, who also wrote Allegiance, comes in. He and his husband, Brad, are docents of the theater. They give money to the theater. And so they're invited guests for opening night. And this dinner, there was about 50 people invited to this dinner. It was not some intimate event. It was all the people who run the theater and whatnot, VIPs. So the host comes back over to me. He asks how to spell my name. So he writes out a place card for me and goes and sets a seat for me at this long table. He said, I'll find you a seat. It might not be with your friends, but I'll find you a seat. So he sets a chair at the end of this long table of like 10 people, puts me at the head of this table. And at one end is Nick and Diane and Oz, and then a couple of random people from the theater. And then it's George Takei and Brad Takei and Brian Mosher and me. So I crash a party and I get seated at the head table with like the biggest celebrity in the room, which I thought was hysterical. So we had this amazing dinner. And then seated to my right, and at this point, I've just crashed this party. Okay, I'm not an invited guest. It's opening night. I don't have a ticket to the show either because I couldn't go online and buy one. So I came to have a drink with my friends, get invited for dinner. And then it turns out my dining partner to my right, I start talking. I said, oh, I guess we should include the other people at the table. So Brian and I start talking to her. And what do you do? I'm the special events coordinator for the Amundsen Theater. So she's the coordinator of all these events. And so I'm laughing, and I said, so my buddy Oz Fudge down here was supposed to get a house seat for me tonight. I don't think he did. She laughs, and she goes, hang on a minute. She whips out her phone. She starts texting. She looks at me. She says, how do you spell your name? She types it in, hits send. She goes, your ticket's waiting for you at the box office. Yeah. So we're all getting up. This is 15 minutes, mind you, before curtain. So everyone's getting up, and everyone goes up to the theater. I run over to the box office to grab my ticket, which I didn't even look. I just ran inside. There were two things handed to me, and I ran inside, and my seat is like a 5th row center producer's house seat, because I'm seated next to Kenny, the producer, and his wife. So I'm 5 minutes before the show. I sit in. Kenny introduces himself, and who are you, and blah blah blah. So we sit and enjoy the show.
Well, that was your first time seeing it.
And that was my first time seeing the show. And so then afterwards, I meet up with, Oz and everyone else again, and they're walking down the street to go to the opening night party. So I just walk with Oz, and, they go, oh, Mr. Fudge, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm Fudge's +1. I didn't even look. I had a ticket to the opening night party. That's what was handed to me in the envelope, along with my complimentary house seat. So, everyone else had to hand over their tickets to go into the party. I didn't even realize I had one. So I have mine, which is kind of cool. So it's framed here. Here's my little VIP right there. That was from the opening night party. So I say that. This was from London, I think. Well, London's a whole nother story. But anyway, so I crashed the party and went to the opening night in LA, which was amazing.
I wanted to.
Wow.
Yeah. I said, Kelsey, come with me. She's like, I can't. I'm like, and she goes, well, let me know if you get in. And then the end of that night, I'm like, not only did I get in, so that whole craziness happened. Mm-hmm. And then I went to the opening night.
You were there that night.
Yeah.
They told you.
Yeah, that I'm there that night. And then I start meeting people in the cast. And so then I become friends with some of the people in the cast. And I saw Come From Away a couple more times in LA. I took my 7-year-old daughter the following weekend. So Julie Garnier and Nick Duckart in the cast took us backstage, and they take my 7-year-old like VIP, full on tour, took her through the dressing rooms and had everyone in the cast sign her program. And then they walked her on stage. And so she got to stand on stage. She kissed the cod, the whole bit. Okay. And she, and there's a thing known as the ghost light in theater. So there's always, if you're not a theater person, I know you are, but some people aren't. At the end of the night, after a performance, there's always a light put on stage. It's called the ghost light to light the house for all the ghosts of performers past who live in the theater. It's to welcome the ghosts into the theater. And the Amundsen Theater is a theater that I grew up seeing shows in. I spent so much of my childhood and my teenage years going to this theater. And I have this amazing photo of my daughter standing on the stage with the Amundsen dark house behind her, standing next to the ghost light. And I'm like, wait, I don't even have a photo of myself with the ghost light. But so that was pretty cool. And then my 10 best friends from high school surprised me. They bought a row of seats, and as a late birthday present, all showed up. My girlfriend Carol said, my wife Sue and I are going to take you to go see Come From Away, because we know how much you love it. We know about Newfoundland. They had seen it on Broadway. They're like, but we need to see it with you. So they, behind my back, arranged for all of our best friends to all show up at the theater that day so we could all see the show together. So that was really cool. It actually ended up being one of my close friends, Tim, lost his battle with cancer in March. And we used to spend all of our teens and our 20s together going to New York. We'd go to New York twice a year for a week to see Broadway shows. And we used to go to the Amundsen Theater as teenagers and hang out backstage and get to know the actors and seeing shows multiple, like Ryan has seen Come From Away, what's he up to, 23 or 24 times now? I saw Pirates of Penzance 29 times. I saw, there's shows that I've seen 20 plus times. And so I shared many adventures with Tim, and Come From Away was the last show that we saw together. So that was kind of a really cool, special memory with him. So then after LA, they know that they're going to the UK, and a few of them went to Dublin, and then there's the London premiere. So then Oz starts joking. You're gonna go to London? You're meeting us in London? And he starts pulling this whole, you're gonna show up, you're gonna just show up in London too? I'm like, I might. And we, at some point, Ryan Kraft is how, so Ryan is how you got connected with us. So Ryan and I are connected on the Come From Away Facebook page. I don't even know when it opened in Toronto, around the time it opened in Toronto or shortly after it opened in Toronto. And we started talking, and I don't know, I think he friend requested me, and I'm like, well, I don't really know you. And sometimes there's some, you know, you don't know what kind of people are on Facebook. And just because they're in a fan page, you know, I don't know. So then I start seeing photos of him with Oz. He goes, here's, you know, there's pictures of him with Oz and Lisa at the Toronto opening night, and he's sitting with them. And I'm like, okay, well, okay, you know them, I guess you're okay. So we friended each other on Facebook and started messaging each other. And then he's like, can I call you? And I'm like, call me. So we ended up on the phone, I don't know, 2 hours, 3 hours, I don't know. So we just started talking. We're like two peas in a freaking pod. So Ryan and I become really good friends, and I'm like, so we start talking, and he says, so I'm going to London for the Come From Away opening. And I'm like, well, my friend Kelsey and I are thinking about going, but I don't know. And then I don't know. And then Oz starts going on, and Kelsey and I are getting ready to go on our annual trip to New York. And I texted her, I'm like, so Kels, how about London instead of New York this year? And she's like, okay. Like, she can be talked into going anywhere. Anyway. So I said, let me look into it. Let me see how much it would be. So I start looking. This is February. Nobody goes from LA to anywhere cold in February. If you're coming the opposite direction, the plane fare is double. Okay. But going the other direction, it's half. So I start looking into flights and whatnot. And I'm like, it would cost us less to go to London than New York. So she's like, let's do it. So we just booked our flights. We're like, we're going to do it. So we booked our flights. I'm like, we'll figure out the rest later. So we just booked flights, and I'm like, we'll figure it out later. Mm-hmm. So then I'm asking Oz. So I tell him, I'm like, so we're totally coming to London. Where are you guys staying? Blah, blah, blah. And he still didn't know, because I said, well, maybe we'll try to stay in the same hotel, same neighborhood, whatever. So they didn't know. And then Ryan says, I said, so Kelsey and I are coming, and he's staying with a friend. He goes, great, we'll hook up when we're there. And we figured we'd like meet for dinner, or we'd see each other, whatever. So we're planning this whole trip. We ended up with an Airbnb because Oz could never figure out where they were staying, or until it was too late, and their hotel was way too expensive anyway. We ended up with this Airbnb that was amazing for like nothing, like $95 a night. Yeah. And we were in this $1 million flat in Mayfair, which is crazy. Because we went in February. Nobody goes to London in February. And so we get there, and the first night we meet up with Ryan. We actually flew in on the same day. So he and his friend Holly come to get us. And we went out for Spanish tapas. We started telling stories, and we realized we're like, okay, so we're spending the whole week together. We realized at that point, okay, this is not just we're going to meet to be polite. It's like, oh no, we're spending the whole week together. So then the next night we all went to go see the musical Six, which was new then, and it's now become like this whole phenomenon. I'm so glad we got in on that before it was a big thing. Oh my gosh. And I was doing my research before we went there, because Kelsey and I decided to turn this into a whole week of theater trip, not just about Come From Away. And so I was doing my research. I'm like, okay, this is a show that's only in London. It looks really cool, so we're going to see it. So I just bought us tickets. So we end up going to see it the first night. So fun, so amazing. Then I'm like, okay, we need to go catch up with Oz and the gang. So we went out, we just showed up at their hotel and hung out in the lobby going, they'll show up eventually. And there's Oz and there's Claude. Yeah. And then people started trickling in. Yeah. Nick and Diane come in, and Tom and Beverly come in, and I don't know. And my
Diane
friend
Davis.
and yeah, Diane
and Leo came in.
And then Anne, my friend Anne, flew in. So then I was telling you about the group Up With People that Kelsey, before we started filming, Kelsey and I were both in this group called Up With People. And one of my castmates from Switzerland, who I had not seen in 30 years, we started talking before I came to London, and I started egging her on. I'm like, come on over for the weekend. Come on, you need to see this show. You need to get away. So I actually got her to get on a plane from Zurich and fly to London for 2 days. So she came out with us. She came with us to see Six. Mm-hmm. And then we went and met everybody at the lobby. And then a few of us were like, we're hungry. Let's go find a place to eat. And in London's a very early city. Like you can't find food after 9 p.m. But there's this diner down the street from the hotel. It's like a 24-hour diner. So Oz Fudge, Jamie Fudge, Ryan, his friend Holly, Kelsey, and me. I think that was the group. So we all went down to this restaurant. And this is Sunday night. And Come From Away is opening Monday night, press night, which, again, you can't buy tickets to. So once again,
we're in London.
We're in London.
Paid for our flights.
We're there to go to the Come From Away opening without tickets. We just showed up. I'm like, we'll figure it out. Don't worry. And Kelsey's like, okay, I'm just going to follow you. So we're out to dinner, and I'm like, Oz, how are we going to get in? How are we going to get in? And half an hour later, these two people show up, and Oz says, oh, there's Lauren and Ben from Junkyard Dogs. And then he's like, oh, those are a couple of the pups from Junkyard Dogs. And I'm like, okay, introduce us. I need to talk to those people right now. So he brings Ben over, and I'm like, okay, Ben. So let me tell you this story. So we're the two who won that Come From Away trip to Newfoundland, last year. And then I said, and then I crashed the LA opening. I said, and we just bought tickets to come to London for the opening, but it's press night. Can't get tickets. I said, we need tickets. You need to find us tickets. So he's laughing, and he's like, Lauren, come here. So he says, tell her the story. Can we do it? And he says, can we do anything for them? She goes, okay, here's the deal. She goes, I can't promise because I don't know what's still left because it's all invited guests. It's press. So she goes, let me ask you a couple of questions. Do you care where you sit? We said, no. Do you care if you sit together? No. We just want to be there. She goes, okay. She goes, I can't promise you, but let me see what I can do. I get a text at 8 o'clock in the morning from Oz. Tickets are at the box office. I'm like, scores. I told you, Kelsey, you just have to trust me. So once again, we come uninvited and we get comp tickets to opening night in London, along with I have it. Along with our lovely party passes. Here, sorry, the light. There we go. So these are the party passes for opening night in London. So if you were invited to press night, you are invited to the opening night party, which was insane.
So fun.
Oh my God. Wow. So
fun. There were so many people.
So we're outside the theater afterwards, just kind of gathering and whatnot. And there's a little map on the back of our tickets. You have to walk down the street to this nightclub where the party's at. And we're standing outside the theater. Oh, we're in the lobby. And Lisa Fudge, I have her I collect Broadway show magnets. So I have her buy me a Come From Away magnet in every city. In fact, she owes me the Melbourne one right now. And she was in Toronto just before London. I said, can you grab me one of the maple leaf ones? Because I can't get that here. And she was getting in line to get a magnet, but like the memorabilia booth was like really packed. And David was there. David Hine was there. And he was up at the front. And he goes, what do you need, Lisa? And she goes, I just need a magnet. So he grabbed the magnet and bought it for her and handed it to her for me. So I sent to me by Lisa Fudge, but it was purchased by David Hine as a gift. So we're outside the theater, and David and Irene obviously are there, but I grabbed him and I'm like, you bought me the magnet. I said, I'm who you bought the magnet for in Toronto. Thank you. So this was outside the theater in London on opening night with David and Irene and Ryan and myself and Kelsey. So we snapped this and they're like, wait, we need to go to the party. So let's go. So we all walked to the party together on opening night in London. Not only were we invited, we were escorted there by the writers of the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a special world moment for sure.
Because
Oh
that's
my
how my
God.
life works. It's just,
Mm-mm.
I don't know, you show up and things happen. I don't know. It's
Well, it's just the
you know,
magic of
I
this
don't use the
lady.
term blessed because it's just not a term I use.
I use blessed.
She does. It's
So blessed.
just it's just kind of how my life happens. You show up, you make things, I don't know, you put them into motion.
You ask.
You can't be afraid to ask for what you want is what I've learned. You can't be shy. I'm not a real shy person, as you can tell. But I don't know. It's kind of that ask and you shall receive. I don't know. It's also, I think a lot of it is good karma. You put out in the world, you get back from the world what you put out there, you know. And so I don't know. It's, you know, I don't ask for stuff with, you know, you know, like Lisa and I, we reciprocate. You know, I don't say, "Can you send me a bunch of crap? Thanks." You know, I'm like, okay, if you knit, or if you crochet me one of those really cool scarves, I'll bring a whole. And that was the thing. I said, if you bring me one of those to London, I'm like, I'll bring you a whole bag of. So I packed a whole bag of Disney stuff for her, like t-shirts and leggings and backpacks and I don't even remember but I made her a whole like Disney gift package, and so we exchanged things in London, and that was a crazy fun week. Yeah, so we just showed up to London and made that happen. Then Oz started joking, so you're gonna show up to Melbourne? I'm like, I wish that didn't happen, but I have a magnet coming from there. I have a magnet. I don't know. So that's just kind of how things happen. We are planning to go to Gander for the 20th anniversary of 9/11. Now we weren't there. We weren't plane people, but it's just kind of bizarre. You become family. This is not. It's not false. It's not a show. It's not made up. It's genuine. These people are so genuine and so kind. And I mean, Oz has become a really, really dear friend. Not just, oh, we met that character in Gander. I mean, we've become very close friends. And Diane Davis. Oh my God, she's so funny. And then Nick. So Nick. What Nick and Brian and I discovered when we were having dinner in LA, we all have birthdays the same week. And we're all in November. We're all Scorpios. So you get the three of us in a room and a couple of cocktails going. Yeah, oh my God. I'm the 5th, Nick is the 7th, and Brian is the 12th. So I always joke that Theresa plus Nick equals Brian. Because all the numbers add up. Yeah, it's kind of our thing. So we just all had our birthdays, and I can't wait to get back to Gander to go to the Mosher Man Cave. I've seen pictures, and I know I think when we camp out there, I won't be leaving for a while once we hit the Man Cave. But I've gotten to know. I don't know that I think the only person who I haven't met Janice. I haven't met Janice.
She was there in London, but she was there with her family. So
yeah, Janice is, I think, is of the main characters. Yeah, who are real characters. Boy, are they real life characters. I think Janice is the only person I have not met. And that was another one of those the Janice Gowdy, Brian Mosher thing. We're like, oh, we didn't realize that Mosher was a guy, and then then I'm like, oh, okay, what a hoot. That guy is a crack up. He is so much fun. But yeah, I think we have become friends, and there's people I certainly know better than others. I've gotten to know Nick quite well, Oz and Lisa and Beverly. I've gotten to know Beverly quite well, and Diane Davis. Diane and her iceberg page. Now, she's so wonderful. Well, and it's we were there in September before, so we were there for end of summer going into berry season. I have got to go for iceberg season. I'm like, but if we go for 9/11, then it won't be iceberg season. So I'm kind of planning, and I'm like, you can take, I can only afford to go to Newfoundland so many times, but I'm like, well, maybe we'll make that a short trip, and then I'll go the next year for iceberg season.
No, it's not going to be a short trip. 9/11 is not going to be a short trip. No.
So so there's that. So will you be in Gander for 9/11 2021?
Yeah, it's a date. Let's meet up.
Right? I know. It's and I have kids, and I want to take my kids for for icebergs. I really think I want to take them for the adventure of that, and something that we don't have in Southern California. You know, we're in shorts and bare feet right now, and my kids they ski and they do that stuff with their dad. I don't do that stuff. But I don't know if I take them for 9/11. If I have young children, I'm a very old mom. I have a 7.5-year-old daughter and a 9.5-year-old son. So even 2 years from now, I don't know that they will understand the full impact and significance of being in Gander for 9/11. You know, maybe 10 years from then might be a better time, but they've heard all the stories. My daughter's seen Come From Away. They know who these people are, you know, and but I don't think they can quite grasp the historic impact of it and really what it really means. And I don't want to waste a trip on them if they won't understand the meaning of it. I don't want to drag them somewhere and then have to entertain them when I'd rather be with my grown-up friends doing other stuff. So they understand. I usually take a trip each year without them till they're older. But they're asking to go to New York. They want to go see Broadway shows. You know, we can see theater here, but it's not Broadway. And they know that we will be going to Newfoundland sometime in the future, but you know, whenever that is. It's not like Newfoundland's going anywhere. You know, but you know, I want to be there when they can meet everyone but when they can also appreciate it. You know, you take them too young, it goes over their head, you know, and so you know, they can stick to the Disney trips and that. Okay, well,
Kelsey, you probably should go because we have been talking for an hour. Are you sure it's fine that you?
It's okay. We can keep talking for a little.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
She can make her mac and cheese later.
I can't.
Okay.
She's fine.
Because, you know, let me know if you want to finish this conversation because, you know, it's...
Well, I will.
Kelsey knows. She's with me. We talk for hours. It's just blah, blah, blah. But I'm trying to think of other stories. I know we have good stories. We have good Come From Away stories.
That's an amazing story. Like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, there's fans out there. There's like there's the fans that see the show. I've seen the show 5 times now.
Yeah, I think you've seen it more than I have.
Yeah,
I saw it.
I've seen it 5 times.
I've seen it
So
4
10 times.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to see it more.
I know. I mean, I could see it more and more and more.
I've listened to it a bazillion times. I forced my parents to sit and listen to it.
Yeah.
And then I took them and my grandma. But,
yeah, I live in St. John, so I can see it only when I go to Broadway or to London.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's like only 10 times so far. But at least I have a disc from a Sheridan College workshop where the students record the songs.
Yeah.
Right.
So when I interviewed Michael Rubinoff, he gave me this disc, and I'm like, oh my god, like the original workshop songs.
That's
That's like, wow.
Oh my
really
gosh.
cool.
Are you allowed to share that? I want to see that.
Give me 1 second, I'll bring it.
I love it. See?
I know.
Okay, so actually I have 2. Can you see it?
Yeah.
This is what Michael gave me, and
Oh,
he
wow.
signed.
I love
That's
it.
amazing.
And I'll show you the inside. It looks like this.
Oh my god, look at that.
And then I have another one that looks like this.
Oh my gosh.
It's
wow.
I interviewed Sheridan students from the original cast, and they gave it to me.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
So, yeah.
So cool.
Wow, crazy.
How do we get this?
How do we get this? You're so funny. How do we get this? I know. We get our hands on a lot of stuff.
Well, maybe someone will see this interview and then you'll just get it, you know, like.
Right.
You just asked.
Yeah, we haven't met Michael yet. I met Kenny, met Randy, met David and Irene. Yep, haven't met David yet. Or Michael, I mean.
I met him accidentally in London. I was at Phoenix Theatre like several days before the official opening. Because I interviewed 2 people, a standby Kirsty Malpass and one of the musicians, Justin Quinn. And so I sat in the lobby, and then several people walk in, and I look at them. It's Nick and Diane, like real Nick and Diane. And then like with them, like, is it Michael Rubinoff? And I was like alone there, like I was the only person in theater. And they walk in, I'm like, should I say hi?
Yes.
Hi, you're Michael Rubinoff, right? I'm a huge fan. It was like, oh my God.
So were you there the same time we were there?
I was doing a semester abroad in Ireland at the time.
Uh-huh.
I came to London only like for 10 hours to interview 2 people, and then I went back to Ireland. Because I didn't really...
We're in Ireland.
Yeah. I didn't really
At
think
Trinity?
that, can get a ticket to the opening. And I didn't really think to ask, like, Oz. When he found out that I was in London, she was so mad at me.
Right? Yeah.
He was like, you were in London, you didn't tell me? I'm like, oops.
Yeah, oops. Oops. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh my
But at least I met the real Nick and Diane.
Right.
They're so fun.
Oh
my God.
They're
Nick
lovely
is
humans.
so funny. He is so funny. He's got this low-key British kind of kook. He's so funny. I love him. Love him. And then Diane opens her mouth and she got that big old Texas accent. Love her. Love her. Yeah. So this has gone for us far beyond like being like, it's not a Broadway show fandom thing.
Right.
It's kind of become more of our Newfoundland, plain people family. I don't know. It's bizarre. Like we have been welcomed into the family. It's like we are part of this crazy come from away family. Like when we showed up in London and Beverly and Tom were like, "Oh, you are here, Nick and Diane." Like it was not unusual for us to just be in a lobby in London randomly with these people. Like it was reunion time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, what are you doing? Or, or that weird, like, who are you thing?
Right.
Like, I don't recognize you. Now in LA, you get that, LA, it's a whole different thing. If you're, trying to be around the industry, people just think you're milking off of people because they're famous or what they can do for you kind of thing. And it's, and it's not that case at all. It's like, well, Oz, I can buy you a beer. That's about what I can do for you. You know what I mean? And they know they're welcome here. And I keep trying to get Lisa to come here, and she didn't get to come to the LA opening. She was a little bummed about that. Yeah. But it was actually the 2 days they were here was the worst weather we had the whole year. It rained non-stop the whole time that they were here. Like the worst weather for LA. They didn't care.
Yeah.
It was warm rain for them. They were, they were laughing. They're like, these people can't.
Bad.
Yeah, people can't drive when it drizzles here, and they're plowing. And Brian Mosher showed me pictures of literally his entire basement door, like the snow coming up to the roof line of his house, and then he opened the door like to his man cave. And it's just a wall of snow, literally a wall of snow, because it snowed so much there. It snowed so high, it was up to his roof line, and he opened the door and it was just packed. Like he had to dig a hole, he had to tunnel his way out with a snow shovel. Yeah. Things that we cannot comprehend. I'm like I said, what is it? It's November. It's almost Thanksgiving here. And we're in shorts and t-shirts. It's 85 degrees Fahrenheit outside right now.
It's cold here, like very, very cold. It's so windy, Even if it's not very cold, it's so windy that it feels like way colder than it is.
Right.
And when it rains, you can't really use an umbrella because it's kind of a horizontal rain.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like Mary Poppins, like you're about to fly away, so it's like useless.
Yeah, when Kelsey, when they told her she had a year to book the trip, but when did you want to go? And they said, we suggest not coming between January and May or something like that, or December, or November. Like there was months that they said you can, but we suggest not coming during that time. Yeah. So it was funny. So we didn't know which season to pick, and it was just literally, let's just go as soon as we possibly can. And it was beautiful weather the whole time we were there. Like jeans and a hoodie, for us, for people from California to come to Newfoundland and only have to wear like jeans and maybe a hoodie. was nothing. There was, we put on the heavy jackets when we went out on the boats, but even those weren't coats. They were just a small parka kind of thing, but not heavy duty. I mean, the heaviest jackets that we would have to wear here. But Kelsey and I both have winter clothes because we like to go to New York in the winter. Yeah. And she went to college in Pennsylvania, so she's got the East Coast wardrobe.
I'm so mad at the weather right now.
I know we like the cold. We like the cold, but we like the cold because we don't live in the cold. Yeah. So it's fun for like a week.
I like it longer.
Yeah. Like when we went to Broadway Con in 2016, the first year.
So good.
We were in New York for a weekend. It was the Great Blizzard of Manhattan. We got the city of Manhattan closed because there was a blizzard the weekend we were there. We got snowed into our hotel, and Broadway Con. The whole second day of Broadway Con, the producers of it had to make it up because all the Broadway shows closed. Yeah. They sent everybody home, and none of the artists who were scheduled to appear could even get to the hotel. Oh. So Krista Rodriguez walked. Yeah, Krista Rodriguez was in her last weekend of Spring Awakening, and she said, "I'll walk there right now," because they canceled all the matinees. We were on our way out to a matinee, and they canceled all the Broadway shows. And so Krista said, and they took all the actors and said, "Go home, get out of here. Get out of the city. We're closing Manhattan." And so Krista Rodriguez said, "I'll walk there right now." So she came over to the hotel and just camped out. They, I guess, probably gave her a room because there was nowhere else to go. And so that evening, there were supposed to be all of these people performing, all these Broadway people, all these events that were supposed to happen that night.
But no one was there.
It was Krista Rodriguez.
And Joe Iconis.
Yeah, and Joe Iconis. Oh, that's right, and Joe Iconis. And so Krista Rodriguez went in with Joe Iconis, went to a room and rehearsed, and she put together like an hour and a half long concert of just her. And so she came in and did an entire show for us and filled in for 25 other people who never showed up, who didn't come to the hotel. And then they did this thing where the producers, whoever was in charge, and it was Anthony Rapp and his people, and they put a couple of couches on the stage because they were just making this up. They were flying by the seat of their pants. And it was literally them with their phones like this, going, "Who do you know? Who's in your phone? Who can you call?" So between all of them, they called anybody that they knew in the industry who they could get to answer a phone. They FaceTimed a couple of people, and they'd get someone on the phone, they'd put them on speaker, they'd put their photo up on the thing, and they'd start talking to them. Patti LuPone, Idina Menzel, Audra McDonald, I don't know. It was just Brian Stokes Mitchell. I don't even know.
Norm Lewis.
Norm. I love Norm Lewis. And Betty Buckley. So all these people, whoever they could find, who would talk to us for a while. And they were just like talking to their celebrity friends. It has now become a thing at Broadway Con that they do this now, that they call their friends. And who's the surprise guest? And then Patti LuPone was up at her house in Connecticut. And she goes, "What are you guys doing? Aren't you like snowed in?" And we're like, "How is it in Connecticut?" She goes, "We thought we'd get it bad here, but it's only a little bit on the ground." And then she was like, "Well, what are you eating? Are you guys running out of food?" And the hotel was indeed running. I mean, there was still food, but they were running out of food. Like there was, because everyone was stuck there. The whole hotel staff had to spend the weekend at the hotel. Like it was the same people we saw because they were stuck at the hotel with us. And we were joking. We're like, the thing with Patti LuPone started into, "Could you send us a pizza patty?" And it started with the whole room started chanting, "Send pizza patty, send pizza patty." And then people started hashtagging it and tweeting it and Instagramming. So it became this whole thing about send pizza patty with Patti LuPone, which is hilarious. But, there's a whole nother. See, we could tell you a whole bunch of different Broadway stories too that have nothing to do with Come From Away, but
That's insane. I mean, I saw Patti in London recently in the musical Company.
We saw it too. Yeah,
it was amazing.
Oh my God,
so good.
We saw that. That was our last night in London. Oh my God, so good, so good, so good.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it's opening on Broadway. I mean, a whole new cast. Yeah. Amazing cast.
Yeah.
Oh my
it's gonna be
God,
so
such
good.
a great cast. Yes,
With
it's
Patty.
so good, so good. Yes, that was actually, we felt the best show that we saw that week.
Other than Six.
Come From Away was,
Other
you know,
than Six.
Come From Away is just in a different category, so we don't lump that in with our other shows. It's kind of its own thing. Yeah. Our favorite show that we saw was Six. And if you have not seen Six, you have to see Six.
I wasn't able to buy tickets. It was sold out when I tried to see it. So I'm waiting for Broadway.
Yeah. See, I didn't know. I bought our tickets, I don't know, a month or two ahead. Yeah. We had like 7th row center seats. It was amazing. Yeah. But so that was our favorite show, but the best show. Missed it we got there late. But the best show we saw that week was definitely Company. I saw Come From Away twice because I saw it with my girlfriend from Zurich. My friend flew in from Zurich to see Come From Away for me. Kelsey saw something else.
I saw Violet. Which was
Violet,
great.
that's right. And Kelsey and I saw Hamilton. I saw it for the 4th time just because I wanted to say I'd seen it in 3 different cities. So I saw it on Broadway. I saw it in LA twice, and I've seen it in London now. So it's just kind of.
It was only the 2nd time I saw it. You've seen it more than I.
Yeah, she saw the original cast in previews. She saw it before it was like a phenomenon.
Well, it was a phenomenon, but still.
But before she saw it before you couldn't get tickets to it. Let's just say. Yeah.
Wow, so you saw it with Lin-Manuel Miranda?
I did, with everybody, the whole cast.
Yeah, and then we saw. Actually, she didn't even see it when it was in LA, which is so crazy.
It's so sad I couldn't afford it. Yeah, and I never won the lottery. So.
Yeah, and
I saw it only in London because stadium tickets cost like only £12.50, like Hamilton tickets. So it's like, and you don't have to come early to the box office like an hour before, and that's it. You have a ticket, so it's like very affordable in London.
Yeah, so different. Yeah, I bought us premium seats for there, but they were very easy to get. I mean, it wasn't a big thing. So when it was here, the guy who played Aaron Burr, Joshua Henry, who we both love. So while they were here, you know, they were off on Monday nights, and there's this little tiny venue over in West LA, the El Rey Theater, and Joshua did a concert on a Monday night in this, like, a really like half the audience was the cast of Hamilton. Really tiny little venue. And so since Kelsey didn't get to see Hamilton, for Christmas bought us tickets to go see Josh Henry, and I bought it with the VIP meet and greet. So we have photos of us with Josh Henry. But we were like in 3rd row, like this close to him, of him playing his guitar and doing his stuff. And then he did his ham jams. He did a medley of his ham jams, which I do have on video. Yeah. So we have lots of adventures. Yeah, we're like this.
And we saw Julie Garnier show.
And Julie Garnier, who was one of the swings in the national tour, the North American tour. I'm saying national tour. She did a show when she was in LA at the Catalina Bar and Grill. So we went and saw her. So we got to, because she only went on a few times. She didn't get to go on very often. And so she did her one-woman show, and she's amazing. And she has she has this whole Disney thing that she does as well. And she, I don't know, are we allowed to, is she allowed to share that? Are we allowed to share that whole story? I don't know. Well,
probably not.
Let's just say she sang Let It Go. And that's part of her Disney persona and her Disney contract that she does. She does the Frozen show at Disney California Adventure Park out here in California, and plays several different roles in that. But then she also does other events as the voice of Elsa from Frozen when somebody else is not available to do such performances, and we know who that other person is. So Julie is the voice of somebody else when that person can't be there to be the voice herself. And that's like her big Disney thing. And let me tell you, this girl, can belt her face off. Amazing. Yeah, she's amazing. She's amazing. But yeah, we have lots of, and the Nick Duckart. Here's another kid, like just all these people who know everybody else. So Nick Duckart gave both my daughter a backstage tour, and then some friends of mine, teenage sons, a tour. And we started talking, and I said, oh, one of my friends that's here today is the voice teacher of Aaron Mackey, who's done a bunch of shows. And he goes, oh my God, I love Aaron. And I'm like, how do you know Aaron? And he said, well, my wife did In Transit with her on Broadway. A month later, both girls, Marianne and Aaron, are on the road together in Wicked as Glinda and Elphaba. And Erin began her professional career playing Glinda in the Chicago cast of Wicked. She married her Bach. And she did Chicago, she did LA, she did Broadway. And then, years later, they're like, do you want to go on? We need a 6-month contract, Glinda. You want to do it again? And Marianne just happened to get the contract as Elphaba. And they were friends, so they're like, let's do it. So they went on the road together for 6 months, which is kind of crazy. So Nick and I have this weird connection, but that's how the industry is. And then Harder, who plays Oz in the tour. So I met him opening night because he's Oz, and so we're taking photos, and so I'm like, so where do you come from? Where's home base? And he said, Chicago. I said, oh, one of my former students is an actress in Chicago. Do you happen to know Lakecia Harris? And I said, she does like the summer Shakespeare stuff in the park. She was Viola in 12th Night last summer. He goes, I know exactly who she is. He goes, I haven't worked with her, but yeah, I know her. And so this guy, knows one of Kelsey's classmates from high school.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah. It's I know. Just people know people know people know people, and that's kind of how the world works.
That's with people.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Are there any? I don't know if Ryan. I think Ryan filled you in pretty well with the whole London story and how he and I met, and I think I filled in the rest of that. I don't know. Can you think of any other stories that we've missed? I think we've hit most of them.
Yeah.
I think.
What do you think is so special about musical? Why do people want to see it again and again? Come From Away.
It's the feeling.
Yeah.
It's I also, because Oz has asked me, you can tell, has asked me, well, which is better, Hamilton or Come From Away? And I'm like, see, there's not a comparison.
There's
not a comparison.
Yeah.
It's not an either or one is better than the other. What I told Oz, the comparison of those two is, it's not watching a show, it's an experience.
Yeah.
Both of those shows take you on a journey. They take you on a ride. They take you a place that is not about watching a show or watching a performance.
Mm-hmm.
It's about an experience, and you don't get it unless you've experienced it. Mm-hmm. It's like our experience being in Up With People. Mm-hmm. I can explain to you what the Up With People program is and what it's like to, what we do, but unless you've experienced it,
you'll never know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. What is your experience with Come From Away? Like, you want to see it over and over again?
I absolutely want to see it over and over and again. I mean, it's just an hour and 40 minutes of crafted theater, perfectly written storytelling, and it's a true story. Like, and it's so, like, it makes you laugh and cry the entire time. At least it does for me. I know not everyone's the same, but I'm a very emotional person and a huge feeler. So, like, the music starts and I'm bawling my eyes out and I, like, don't stop for the rest of the show. And every time I listen to it, like, I talk about it to people and I start to cry. Like, it just happens. It's what it is. And I guess it's because, like, it was such a traumatic time for our country, like, especially us personally. And so, like, then to have this story come out of it and to see the humanity of people and the love that was shown and the grace that was shown and just all these things, like, I think that's why you can go see it over and over. Well,
and for us too, we've been to Newfoundland and we've met the real people. Mm-hmm. So it's become very personal. It's a very personal thing now. Like, to sit in an audience with Beverly Bass and to hear the person playing Beverly say the line in Me in the Sky, the first female American captain in history, and then to hear like everyone like erupt screaming and cheering because Beverly's sitting right there with you. And now it doesn't happen, I've noticed, if she's not in the audience. It's not as big of a thing. And the audiences are different, seeing an American audience and seeing a British audience, because they respond to different things. Like the character of Nick gets all the laugh lines in London, which are really passed over quite a bit by the American audiences. And that actor got nominated for an Olivier. That wasn't even a blip on the radar here for the Tony Awards. But Beverly Basher was, because that's, you know, the big American icon, and she's a female, and it's, you know, and I think that's a bigger deal in America than it is there. I mean, Hamilton too, the audience responded to completely different things in London than in the U.S. Like here,
the immigrant line,
when the line immigrants
get the work done.
You see it with an American audience, and like the theater shakes because
I mean, they literally added 4 extra bars of music or 4 extra counts of music just for that applause. Yeah, they knew it would happen.
And it gets completely just skipped over in London. Not a blip. Nothing. Nothing. It just goes unnoticed.
We cheered.
Yeah, but it's not. It's an eruption in an American audience. I mean, it's one of the biggest audience reactions in an American, you know, audience. But Come From Away, really, I mean, it's become so personal, and we get the jokes on a deeper level now, and we get the pain on a deeper level now. You know, like when Hannah calls Beulah and says he's gone. Now we know the flip side of that Beulah's son is now gone as well, and they share that bond that's happened since the show was written and since this time. You know what I mean? So we get things on a different level and from a different perspective, and how certain lines are read, how different actors, you know, do Oz. They're like, yeah, that he doesn't do Oz as good as that guy did Oz. You know, like he doesn't quite have the Oz accent, right? You know what I mean? It's close, but nah, it's a little close, you know. And you know, and hearing them that holy shit. Every time I hear that, I'm like, oh my God, it's so Oz. I laugh because it's so Oz. And there's just certain little nuances and certain lines and certain things that I've heard come out of the actual people's mouths when I've had dinner with them or having a drink with them in a pub, or, you know, it's, I don't know, it's different. And we weren't there on 9/11. We weren't plain people, but they've certainly made us feel like they've known us that long. I almost feel like we were there. You know, it's like there's a part of me that says, well, you know, Oz is saying, make your hotel reservation now because it's going to fill up. You need to be here for you know, the celebration. Got to be here for the celebration. And I kind of say, well, do we belong there? Is it our place to be there? Because you guys are going to be reuniting over something that bonded you 20 years ago. We weren't part of that. But he's like, no, you are part of it. You're part of the family now. You need to be here. It doesn't matter if you were there on that day. You can be here on this day. And like when him saying the TV crew's coming, you should stay. They'd want to interview you. I'm like, who are we? We have nothing to do with this. We want a contest. Yeah, that. You know, and I don't know. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy how this is all. So yeah. So that was a very long answer to a short question, but it's not about seeing a Broadway show over and over again. For some people, that's what it is. They find things within that, or they find stories or something they relate to or something they connect to that makes them want to come back over and over again. But this, for me, it's not just a show wanting to see it over and over again. And for Ryan, too. And then Ryan, we find out, was in Newfoundland 1 month after us. One flipping month after us. I know. And we're like, seriously? So we've made a vow that the next time we go back, that the 3 of us are going to go back together. Like we absolutely like have to experience it together, because we have these crazy come from away experiences and we share similar stories. But like, okay, we need to share like more of them together. So yeah, and he's seen it. He's seen it so many times. So many times. But see, it's not here. We don't live.
He lives in Toronto, so it's easy for him, you know, to see it.
Right. Yeah, we
and
don't
he
have
just takes like that's his, oh, you're visiting me, let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, like me with.
And that's how I saw Wicked 8 times. When it was based here in LA, was because every time someone came to visit, it was like, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go see Wicked.
Yeah, you take him to Wicked, you take him to Hamilton, you take him to Come From Away. But Come From Away is a whole. When I went with my
Hamilton's coming back.
When I went with my my high school friends, they all had a different, like they all processed the show a different way. And my friend Sherry, she's like, I hate you, I love you. She goes, I cried the whole time, but good tears and bad tears, and I don't even know which ones they are right now. Like she said she literally did not stop crying for the entire duration of the show.
I cried the whole show.
But she said, but it's for so many different reasons, because some of it's you're laughing,
because you're laughing,
and some of it is tragic crying, and some of it is something touches you.
Heart,
and she literally said, she goes, like her eyes were so puffy at the end of it, and it was literally, I love you, I hate you, I don't even know what I'm feeling right now, because oh my God. And I don't think she could even put into words what she experienced watching Come From Away. Like I don't even know if she's still processed the whole thing yet. Like we haven't even had another conversation about it, and that was last December. That was almost a year ago.
Well, and like, what is interesting is not everyone in the world likes Hamilton.
This is true.
This is true. So like, people
who like it.
So just for whatever reason, they can find little things to pick at it and say this actually isn't as good as people say it is. But I have never met anyone who says that about Come From Away.
No.
Because you can't. There's nothing about the show and about the story that's being told that anyone can go, oh, actually, that was a little over the top, or that was, not very well written character development. Like, because they're real people. It actually happened. Like, everything about it is completely honest and real, and you can't be mad at it or be annoyed by it. Right. Like, I'm sure there are a few people who can, but I have not met a single person who's like that. And with every other show I've ever seen that exists in the world, because people have their opinions and their
you can find fault with
that.
You can't find fault with this because it's just people telling their stories. It's now actors telling real people's stories. Right. But these are people that everyone has access to now via social media, and there's people that will like put something on a Facebook page, and like Beverly Bass will actually respond, or Oz will respond, or Lisa will say, well, here's I just PM'd you my phone number, make sure when you come to Gander call me. And people freak out. I'm like, that's what these people are seriously like, and they mean it. And when somebody says, oh wow, like really, and I'm like, and when I see a comment like that, I tell them, do it. They're not kidding. I've been there. It's a real invitation. Like, seriously, do not hesitate to call Oz when you're in Gander. In fact, if you're there and you don't call him, he's going to be a little bit angry with you. He gets a little miffed. He's like, what do you mean you didn't call me? You were in Gander. Like it's wrong to come to Gander and not call Oz, So we've learned. But there was a kid who posted a boy last week on Facebook, and I'm also on Broadway fan pages on Facebook. And this kid, a boy, got his dream was to sing Me in the Sky. Like, he wanted to do it for a performance, and his teacher, I think, let him do it for a workshop or a musical performance at school. And he goes, and his dream was he wanted to play Beverly Bass. He wanted to do it as the character of Beverly Bass. And so he did it, and he posted, and he goes, and teenagers do this. I'm far too old to be putting karaoke videos of me on social media and going, hey kids, what do you think? But it's a thing now with teenagers. And I try to be as positive. If I watch one, if it's something I think shouldn't be, I'm not going to say something negative to some kid on social media. It's not a forum for bullying, which is what a lot of people take it for. So if I can say something positive or whatever, I do. And this kid, and he was really good. And so I shared it on my page and tagged Beverly. I'm like, Beverly, have you seen this one yet? And then I commented, I'm like, that was really amazing. I shared it with Beverly Bass. And he's like, oh, wow, really? Seriously? Like what? And I'm like, Yeah. And then Beverly came on and commented on it, and he freaked out. And I'm like, she's a real person, you know, but she's like achieved like this celebrity status now. You know, she's like kind of the face of Come From Away, and it's kind of a thing. And she's, you know, and she does her thing. You know, I can't wait to read. I have to get the book. I have to get it for Charlotte for Christmas. And I'm like, when are you coming to LA for a book signing? Because I need to bring Charlotte to meet you. But she's super down to earth and super sweet, and will take whatever time. Have you met Beverly? You've met Beverly, haven't you?
No, I haven't.
Yet. Okay. No, so down to earth and so lovely. And she will take, it's not like she's a celebrity and can't be bothered and don't talk to me. Not at all. This is, I mean, you know, she's quite historic, and her story is now being told on a different platform and a different level, and inspiring so many people who wouldn't have known her story otherwise. And you know, and her daughter Paige is now a pilot. Actually, she just became a captain this house. She looks like she's 12, but her daughter's now a commercial captain for American Airlines, which is so cool. And she just manned her first all-female crew a couple of weeks ago. So it's like really cool. Yeah, really, really cool. But yeah, so I don't know. Anyway, it's social media has changed a lot of things too. How people connect, and you know, I've always been a theater fan, and my friend Tim and I were theater groupies, and you know, this is probably a show that we would have gone to see multiple times as teenagers, but we didn't know there were other kids like us out in the world. I mean, in LA it was film and TV, and to really love theater and to like be hanging out, actors always talked to us because there was not a stage door thing. Now it's like, oh, a stage door, I got Jen's picture, I got Gino's picture, who's going to their last performance. And it's like a thing now, to stage door and selfie it, whatever. It's just, it's a bizarre culture to me, because I'm middle-aged. I grew up in an era when that was not a thing. You would send a note and flowers backstage if you wanted to be received backstage to talk to someone after the show. And that was proper etiquette and how it was done. There was none of this hanging out by the stage door for an autograph thing. You sent a note, a card, and flowers backstage, and then waited, and then came backstage, gave them your name, and then waited to be received in their dressing room, or they came out to you, but you were received. You were properly received. And kids don't understand that culture. They feel like they are entitled with their ticket to automatically get a selfie and an autograph at the stage door. The fact that there's barricades up outside of a Broadway stage door tells a lot about what has become because of social media. And it's just bizarre. So Tim and I grew up, like, I still have a lot of dear friends who are actors and who are stars on Broadway. A lot of them are older now, but people who I met as a teenager who were kind to me because I came to be received at the stage door and wanted, I don't have autographs or photos with any of the people I grew up knowing. And a lot of them are really big stars now. Denzel Washington, Matthew Broderick, Peter Gallagher. But they were young kids in the theater, and they were just friends of mine. And they would give time to talk because they weren't being mobbed, and they weren't being mauled, and they weren't being pulled in every direction. So it's a very different culture now too, which is
also like people just didn't really even know they existed back then, because you had to, you know, be interviewed in a newspaper article or be featured in this documentary. Like, I don't even know how people used to get information about these stars unless they physically went and saw them in the show live. Whereas now, like, I know every single star that's in every single Broadway show, that's in every single tour, because it's all right there on the internet. Like, that didn't exist when you were growing up. And so it's all right there.
We read. We had to buy a newspaper and read it. That's how so living in LA and wanting to go to New York to see Broadway shows, I could either go to a newsstand in the city, not in my suburb, a big newsstand, and buy a Sunday New York Times or the New Yorker magazine and look at the theater listings. And then you called telecharge and you bought a ticket over the phone. Or you went to the box office and bought one. There was none of this scalping, online, bizarre. You paid face value. There was also student rush back then. I used to pay $4 to see Broadway shows.
$4?
Yeah, $4. No, this
right?
Yeah,
right.
No, this $1,000 crap.
God.
What the hell is that? Yeah, it was just bizarre. So that's how we were also able to see shows multiple times. We'd go for student rush, and it was $4 when I was in high school. So that tells you how old I am. High school was a really long time ago. It went up to $6 my senior year of high school, and we were pretty darn angry about that $2 hike.
Well, that's a big jump.
Yeah, and first time I saw, my first Broadway show in New York was Pirates of Penzance. I went to see it for my 29th time for my 18th birthday. And I think top dollar premium orchestra seat in LA at that time had gone up to about $21. And top price in New York then was $27. We're like, oh my God, it's so much more in New York. So we paid $27 for a third row orchestra seat on Broadway back then. Yeah. So when you went to TKTS, the half price booth, yeah, it was $12.50 to buy a premium orchestra seat back then. We could buy the cheaper seats for $7. I don't even know. I think standing room was probably
$2.
$5 or $5 back then, something like that.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I kind of regret being too young now.
Right?
Like, what did I miss?
Oh my gosh.
Right. I saw a lot of stuff. I'm in the middle of framing. I have a 40-year collection of Broadway show posters. It's been living under my bed since I was a teenager, that I am now finally in my middle-aged years, finally framing all of them. And I'm turning my entire dining room into there's a restaurant in New York, Joe Allen, in the district, and they have Broadway show posters all over the walls. And so I've always wanted to have a Joe Allen dining room. And the joke though with Joe Allen is that all of the posters that are up on the wall are Broadway bombs. They're flops. So you won't see a Come From Away poster in there or a Hamilton in there. But all of my other places, JR and Barrymore's and Sam's, that were all of my like Broadway hangouts in the 80s, are gone now. There were tons of Broadway posters. There's a lot of Broadway history that's been lost because these places have been bulldozed. And see, back in my day, all the actors used to go out drinking and partying every night. Like, it was a whole different culture. None of this drink your water and work out. It was like everyone was belting
yoga
bar till 2:00 in the morning, and then getting up and doing their matinee. And so back then, if you knew the watering holes, you could go out and I used to, as a teenager and in my 20s, would just go hang out. Like, okay, so I know the cast of Edwin Drood hangs out at JR. I know the cast of, Dreamgirls hangs out at whatever. I knew where they hung out. And if you wanted to hang out with them, you just go to the bar and hang out with them, because it wasn't a thing. They weren't celebrities. Nobody, they were just doing their shows.
Because people didn't know who they were.
Yeah, people didn't know who they were. And I would be drinking with like George Hearn and, like all these like crazy Jack Lemmon. I don't know, just crazy, things, because it wasn't a thing, but Come From Away has made it accessible to people, because it's different. And I think people will go see. I think the fans of Come From Away are also a different breed. They're not the pushy, shovey, nasty, entitled kind of culture that has become on Broadway. I think it's a much calmer, gentler, and I think that's why the actors have been a lot more receptive to the fans, is because they know it's about real people, and it's not just this huge like Hamilton fandom craziness. I don't know. It's different. It's a different culture when you're around the whole Come From Away thing.
It's also different in different countries. Like in Toronto, not many people come to the stage door.
No?
And in London, like, they come, but there are no barricades yet. I haven't seen any barricades in London yet.
Right.
And some people, like, some fans come there. Like, if it's a 2-show day, they just stay and sit, like, in front of the stage door between shows, like, waiting for actors. Like, I was really surprised to see it.
Right.
Yeah. I guess because there are no free playbills. Maybe that's why less people come.
Oh yeah,
That
we
might
did
be-
notice that. We're
Yeah,
like,
oh my
what?
gosh, we
Yeah,
have
we're
to pay
like-
for everyone.
We're like, we have to buy our program here. Like I
But
get
they're
buying.
beautiful.
I get buying
Yeah.
the souvenir program, but we're
Right.
like, you have to buy your program here. Okay, whatever. Yeah, they're beautiful.
But
They're
they're
much
gorgeous.
nicer.
Oh my
Yeah, they're
gosh.
really, really nice. Yeah. Oh, and look at this is. I try to buy, like I have a magnet from every company of Come From Away, and I try to buy something that I can't get anywhere else. I always buy a magnet because that's my thing. But I tried to buy. I haven't even taken I've never even opened this. I bought this in
Really?
London, and I still have the string on it. So I decided I'd say this is a tea towel, which they wouldn't sell that here. Nobody has tea towels. It was a London thing. So I bought this, and I haven't opened it because I kind of wanted to preserve it. So I'm going to open it, and we'll look at it together.
Oh,
We'll see what's on the tea towel. Maybe I should frame this. This should go on my Broadway. There we
yeah,
go.
you should.
Come From Away tea towel.
Oh, it's so pretty.
So pretty. So I should iron it and frame it, I suppose. Kind of cool, huh?
Yeah, I
Well,
haven't seen it anywhere.
so cool.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what I bought in London. Now, do you know the thing about the globes in each of the logos? Do you know that? Do you know about that?
No, what?
Okay. Oh, okay. So this is something that I learned from talking to different people. So depending on where you see the show,
Okay.
the globe in each logo is different based on where you are in the world in relationship to Gander.
I never noticed.
So if you look at the Australia one, so the Toronto and the North American tour are the same perspective because of where we are in proximity. But you look at the London one, you look at the Australia one, it's from the
Okay.
perspective of that part of the globe.
Yeah. So show that one
So,
again.
okay.
So like
I have
North
no
America's
idea.
not
Yeah.
visible.
So see, that's Europe
all
in
Europe.
relationship to.
Wow.
Okay, I have here. Kelsey,
Yeah.
let me go grab my North American jacket. Hang on. Hang on.
I can't believe I didn't know that.
Right? I didn't know either until she told me.
Wow.
But yeah. So each one's different.
Yeah. So then
So
here's
cool.
oh wait, that's the London.
She buys sweatshirts. She gets everything. I don't
Just
have
buy
enough.
magnets, that's it.
Right?
I
know.
like
I
the
don't have enough
swag.
money.
What
She
can I say?
does. She does.
Okay, so here's the jacket. This is the North American Tour jacket, which they only sell here because it's the lightweight California style.
Mm.
So they only sold this jacket here. In London, I had to get the heavier hoodie. This is a whole different one. So there's the logo. So if you look at the globe,
I
this
see.
yeah. So it's different. And then there's a different one with the Australia one, but Lisa hasn't sent me the magnet yet, so I can't show you the Australian one. But I thought that was a cool little bit of trivia, how they've changed,
Yeah.
you know, your perspective of, I don't know. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Very cute.
Anyway, so kind of crazy.
Anyway, I don't want to keep you too long.
know.
Almost like 2 hours.
I know people are going to be like, "Oh my God, that girl never shut up."
Nah, it's fine. I mean, I talked to Oz and Brian Marshall, so they conversations with them.
Just saying, yeah, those are my guys. And then you start getting us drinking alcohol together. Oh yeah. No,
Oh my gosh. And Kevin.
Oh, oh my God, Kevin J. Oh my God. Oh, that story.
Tell
Okay.
me more.
So we went to the London opening night party,
Oh.
and it was at this. I mean, there were like 900 people there. Basically, everyone in the audience was invited to the party. It was a 2-story nightclub in the center of the West London. Huge party. You walked in, and it was just people standing there with trays of champagne, wine, beer. They were just standing there with just trays of alcohol. I'm like, okay, I like this party already. I'll take this. So we started in on the champagne. And there was food. I mean, there was amazing food. It was crazy. So we were all over the place. I was meeting all the London cast and taking pictures with them. I'm like, I know your American counterpart. We need to take a picture, and I'm gonna send it to him right now. Jonathan, who plays Kevin J. So Nick Duckart in the North American tour plays Kevin J. And I'm like, so Nick Duckart's a friend of mine. He's like, oh my God. I'm like, let's selfie. So we selfie, and I pictured with Clive. And the party went on, and the free alcohol flowed on and on. You know, usually at a party in LA, you get like one complimentary drink, and then everything else is like the opening night party in LA. The whole thing was cash bar. There was food, but you had to pay for your alcohol. In London, it was all on the house and non-stop, like non-flowing, non-stop. So Kevin J and Jamie Fudge and Theresa kind of like the alcohol a little bit, just a little bit. We were enjoying the alcohol quite a bit till I don't know I don't even know till what time. I don't know. There's a point that I don't even.
We closed down the party.
We closed down the party, and I think it was about 2 or 3 a.m. I don't really know.
Kelsey didn't have a drop.
No, Kelsey doesn't drink.
Kelsey doesn't drink.
Yeah.
So Kelsey was very sober for all of
Kelsey is very good to travel with Theresa because Kelsey always gets me home. So Jamie and Kevin and I were just beyond shit-faced. And I don't know. I think Ryan and Kelsey were pretty much holding me up going down the street. Was Holly Schnocker too?
No.
Oh, she wasn't? Oh, they were holding us up. So apparently, I don't know. We went to this restaurant a few nights later, and Ryan and Kelsey were like, you know, that place that we dropped Kevin and Jamie off at? I'm like, huh? I'm like, you know, after the party, I'm like, no, I have no apparently they wanted to go eat at 3 a.m, and there was this 24-hour place in Soho, I think. And they're like, yeah, after we dropped them off, and then Kelsey, you know, and then Kelsey took me home, and I'm like, how did we even get back to our flat on the other side of London? She goes, oh, we rode the bus. I'm like, we walked, and we walked, and I'm like, I walked
with my help.
Yeah. So then Jamie the next day, I think we were all going out to lunch or something, and Jamie was like, he came downstairs to get breakfast, and he went, yeah, no, and he went back to bed. And yeah, Jamie and I were hurt. I wasn't hurting as bad as I should have been the next day, and they were just laughing because they're like, yeah, Jamie was still drunk in the morning. He had to go back to bed and sleep the rest of it off. So then the jokes the whole rest of the time were, you know, Jamie, you know, the stories about Jamie and Kevin and Theresa at the after party. They're like, yeah, we heard about you guys last night, and yeah. So anyway, there are. I'm sure if you track down people who were in London, there will be many versions of the stories of that night. I don't know all that happened because I checked out at some point, but we just know that there was free booze and we were going to drink as much of it as we possibly could before they wouldn't let us drink anymore. And I think we succeeded in our mission. I do. Yeah, Kevin J. Kevin J is all funny. He's all like quiet and like backseat, and then you get a couple drinks in that guy. Oh, so funny, so freaking sarcastic, so self-deprecating. I love him. Oh my god.
Well, and his humor came out in the documentary. Like, he's just so funny.
He's so funny. Like, really so funny. All right. Okay. I think I know. I have to go cook. I know. She has to go make mac and cheese, and my kids are texting me going, "Can we come home yet, Mommy?" Like, no. Stay away.
She loves that.
So much. I really appreciate that. It was such a wonderful story. Thank you for sharing it with me.
Well, thank you for tracking us down, and we will meet face. See, now we have to meet face to face.
2021.
2021. Gander.
Yes, it's a date.
All right. Awesome.
And Brian has to be Christian as well. So me, I didn't get Christian either. So.
We'll all get screeched in by you know, Claude and Oz and Brian that week.
It totally should. Yeah.
Yes, please.
It's a must. All right. Well, we will talk to you. We're online.
All right.
So we'll talk. All right.
Bye. Thank you.